Where do the entities in our stories come from? Some people have wondered about it. Where do the ghosts, the specters, the demons, and the apparitions come from, the very ones that some unlucky souls cross paths with? This is one of the strangest stories we've ever encountered on this channel. And even though we can't fully explain its nature, it is without a doubt a tale worth telling. We hope you enjoy this edition. And remember, you are listening to Stories of the Night. If someone is ever going to read this, let me confess something first. Even now, as I'm writing these words, I'm not entirely sure I should be doing it. I don't really know why I am. Maybe it's because I need someone to tell me that it's not that strange, that it already happened to a friend's cousin, or to the brother of a coworker. Unlike many of the stories I've heard here, this one just happened to me. I don't know if that makes it better, or much worse. Is it good to have all the memories so fresh, to be able to look to my right and still see the evidence that what I experienced really happened? Or would it have been easier to wait, to let time digest the events, and then try to explain them from a calmer, more rational perspective? I travel a lot for work. Most of my trips are short, sometimes I'm away for just one night before returning to the comfort of my home. I live alone. Ever since my dog, Chocolate, passed away early last year, the apartment has been quiet. For months I drowned in sadness, but little by little I learned to embrace, even enjoy, the freedom of not having another creature depending on me. The first time I felt something strange about my trips was just a few months after Choco's death. I had just returned from a quick trip when I ran into the building manager at the entrance. We chatted for a moment, and then Mercedes, the elderly woman who lives right below my apartment, came over to wish me a safe journey. But at the same time, she made a subtle complaint. "I don't see why you feel the need to pace around your bedroom all night long. Some of us need to sleep." I assured her she must be mistaken, because I had just come back. I hadn't even been home the night before. The poor woman seemed a little embarrassed, muttered an apology, and left. I didn't think much of it, until I walked into my apartment. Something tugged at me. I stopped and decided to carefully inspect my bedroom. At first, nothing looked out of place. Everything was exactly as I had left it. But that same afternoon, when I opened the window to let in some air, I froze. On the glass, on the inside, right next to my bed, were two distinct handprints. They were pressed hard against the window. I live on the 7th floor. There is absolutely no way anyone could have left those marks from outside. I cleaned them off quickly and forced myself not to think about it again. Some things, I told myself, are better ignored. Not long after, Lucas, one of the few neighbors I actually get along with, told me that people had been talking about me in the building's private chat. It was a group where only the older ladies participated, and apparently, Mercedes had mentioned strange noises coming from my apartment while I was away. And it wasn't just noises. Neighbors from the tower across the street claimed they had seen shadows moving behind my window, shadows wandering around my bedroom at all hours. Lucas tried to reassure me. People with too much free time imagine all sorts of things. But I knew he only said that because he didn't have to live in the apartment being talked about. Maybe nothing like this had happened before, or maybe I just hadn't been paying attention. But after that conversation, I began to examine my apartment carefully every time I returned from a trip. I started taking photos with my phone to keep track of how everything was arranged, even the smallest details. That's when I noticed little changes. Objects ever so slightly out of place. Things that had moved just a few centimeters. It might sound silly, but one detail terrified me. I found my toothbrush lying in the kitchen one night, close to midnight, just after I got home. It wasn't just my toothbrush. Next to it was my daughter's toothbrush. Both of them stained with red smudges, like blood. And mine was still damp, as if someone had just used it moments before I walked in. That night I didn't dare stay. I left immediately and checked into a nearby hotel. Even though it seemed impossible for anyone to break into my apartment without the neighbors noticing, I had a series of high-security locks installed. Nobody could bypass them, not even skilled burglars. The neighbors, the building manager, even the locksmiths looked at me like I was paranoid. It seemed excessive for a building as safe as ours, one where you couldn't even get in without passing 2 guards who permanently watched the main entrance. But I didn't care. Let them think what they wanted. I just wanted peace of mind. Unfortunately, it lasted less than one night. That very same night, I woke up to a faint sound in the hallway outside my bedroom. Something falling onto the floor, followed by the sound of footsteps running toward the kitchen, then back again. The steps were short, light. Barefoot. Not even trying to hide. At first, I tried to convince myself it was just my imagination, or that I had been dreaming, my body waking up before my mind caught up. But then, the noise came again. Clearer this time. A thud. Then the slow, deliberate turn of my bedroom doorknob. The doorknob turned, slowly. The door opened slightly, but no one pushed it in. It felt as though someone only wanted to check if it was unlocked. Then I heard footsteps again. This time slower. Cautious. They moved back toward the kitchen. And soon after, I heard it, someone rummaging through my things. I gathered my courage, walked to the door, and opened it. Just outside, I heard those steps retreating quickly, leading me toward the kitchen. My heart pounded harder than I thought possible. I could feel the blood rushing in my head, in my ears. Then came a loud crash from the kitchen, something or someone moving suddenly, knocking objects onto the floor. I panicked. I ran back to my bedroom, slammed the door shut, and pushed a heavy piece of furniture against it. Even now, I don't know why I didn't have the courage to call the guards to come up and check. I can't explain it. Fear paralyzed me. Eventually, exhaustion took over, and I must have fallen asleep. In the morning, I stepped into the kitchen, and the mess confirmed it. Someone, something, had really been there. I wasn't losing my mind. As I walked back toward my room, my eyes caught something for the first time, a small rectangular vent near the ceiling in the hallway. It was the air conditioning duct. It's impossible for anyone, even a child, to crawl through there. But then again, where else? That afternoon, I bought heavy-duty tape and sealed the vent shut. Still, in the days that followed, I could swear I heard faint footsteps. Movements. As if something was crawling behind the walls, above the ceilings. A few days later, I asked the maintenance man to reinforce the vent cover. He fastened it with several screws, making it practically impossible to remove. But soon after, I began noticing small traces of dust on the floor, always right beneath the vent. And then, this morning, I found a screw lying on the ground. Now, as I write these words, I can see it clearly, one of the screws is missing, the cover slightly loose. And I swear there are eyes staring back at me from inside that dark vent. Maybe I'm going insane. Maybe not. Should I unscrew it right now, climb up, and see for myself if something is back there? Or should I finally go tell the guards that something is coming out of the ducts when I'm away, or when I'm asleep? Thank you for reading this, even though I don't fully understand it myself. At least it gives me a chance to let some of the fear out. Forgive me. Forgive me for sending this second message so soon. After I finished writing my story and sent it, I went to the kitchen to boil some water for tea. When I came back to my room, a second screw was lying on the floor. I used the rest of the heavy-duty tape to seal the vent as tightly as I could. But I know, it's going to be a long night. Friends, listeners of Stories of the Night, thank you for joining us for this tale. To us, it feels like one of the most fascinating and disturbing stories we've received in a long time. Julio, please, don't leave us hanging. Tell us what happened next. What became of that night? What happened in your apartment after the day we received your message? And to all of you in our community, thank you for following along. Don't forget to subscribe, turn on notifications, follow us on Facebook, and say hello on Twitter. You'll find all the links in the description of this video. And remember, we'll be back sooner than you think, with another edition of Stories of the Night.